Ratburger by David Walliams, Chapter 19, The Great Escape. Armitage was in terrible danger. Zoe needed to save him, and fast. She remembered that Bert parked his filthy burger van outside her school every day, so if she could just break out of her room, she could follow him. Then she could find where he imprisoned all the rats before they were pulverized. Zoe pondered all the different ways in which she might try to escape. 1. She could tie all of her bed sheets together, then try and abseil to safety, though as she lived on the 37th floor, she wasn't sure the sheets would get her much further than 24th. Chance of death? High. 2. There was always the Birdman option. Make some kind of glider from coat hangers and knickers and fly down to freedom. Chance of death? High. And more importantly, Zoe didn't have enough pairs of clean knickers. 3. Dig. Tunnels had been a favourite method of escape for soldiers in prisoner of war camps. Chance of death? Low. The problem with number 3 was that below Zoe's room was the flat of a moany old lady who, despite having the yappiest dogs herself, always went on and on about the noise from above. She would turn Zoe in to her stepmother in no time. I could always tunnel sideways, thought Zoe. She unstuck a poster of the latest boy band and gently tapped the wall behind it with her fingernails. The tapping echoed into the next flat, which meant the wall must be thin. Over the years, she had heard a great deal of shouting coming from next door, but it was too muffled to deduce what kind of people lived there. A girl and her parents, Zoe thought, but maybe others too. Whoever there was, though, their lives sounded every bit as miserable as Zoe's, if not more so. The plan itself was simple. The poster could be replaced at any time to hide what was going on. All she needed now was something to tunnel through the wall with, something metal and sharp. A key, she thought. She ran excitedly to the door, only to remember that the key was on the other side. That was the whole reason she had to escape. Duh, she thought to herself. Zoe rummaged through her belongings, but her ruler, her comb, her pen and her hangers were all made of plastic. Anything plastic would snap instantly if she tried to hollow out the wall with it. Zoe caught sight of herself in the mirror and realised the answer was staring her in the face. Her braces! The blasted things would at last be of some use. Zoe pulled them out with her fingers and dashed to the wall. Without even pausing to wipe the spit off them, she scratched at the wall. No wonder the braces were painful and rubbed against her gums and got stuck in Raj's cardigan. The metal was sharp. Quickly, the plaster from the wall was flaking onto the floor. Zoe had scratched through the plaster to the bricks behind it, and the braces became thick with the paint and plaster and dust from the wall. Zoe heard, suddenly, the key turn in the lock to her bedroom door. She leapt up and stuck the poster back on the wall just in time. She also remembered to shove her braces back in her mouth, though there wasn't time to wipe them first. Sheila looked at her stepdaughter suspiciously. She looked like she knew Zoe was up to something, but she didn't know what yet. "Do you want some grub? Suppose I'd better feed you," said the vile woman. "If you starve to death, I'll have social services all over me like a bleeding rash." Sheila's beady little eyes circled the room. Something was definitely different. She just couldn't quite put her chubby finger on it. Zoe shook her head. She didn't dare speak with a mouth full of plaster and dust. In truth, she was starving, but she had to get on with her escape plan, and she didn't want any more interruptions. "You must need to use the bog," said the big lady. Zoe spotted her stepmother's gaze searching the room. The little girl shook her head again. She thought she was going to choke, the dust now seeping right down the back of her throat. In truth, she was bursting, and she kept on having to cross her legs, but if she went to the loo and her stepmother searched her room, she might just find the beginnings of the tunnel. "Have you got your braces in?" Zoe nodded vigorously, then attempted a closed-mouthed smile. "Show me!" pressed her stepmother. Zoe slowly opened her mouth a little bit to show a little bit of metal. "I can't see. Wider." Reluctantly, the girl opened her mouth, displaying the braces caked in dust. The woman peered in to have a closer look. "You need to clean your teeth. They're disgusting. Nasty creature you are." Zoe closed her mouth and nodded in agreement. Sheila looked at her stepdaughter one last time, shook her head in revulsion, and turned to leave. Zoe smiled. She'd got away with it, for now. She waited to hear the key turn in the door, and then turned towards the wall. Her boy band poster was upside down. She prayed the one with the back to front hair would never find out she had put the poster upside down. He was Zoe's favourite, and they were going to get married. He just didn't know it yet. And on a slightly more urgent note, thank goodness her stepmother had missed the fact the poster was no longer the right way up. Zoe spat out her braces and wiped her dry as a desert tongue on her sleeve to try and remove the dust, then went back to work. All through the night she scratched and scratched through the wall until finally she broke through. Her braces were now a misshapen mess, and she tossed them aside. So happy to be nearly there, Zoe excitedly let her fingers take over now, scratching away to make a bigger hole, crumbling bits of plaster off in her hands as fast as she possibly could. Zoe wiped her eyes and peered through the hole. She had no idea what was going to be on the other side. Taking a closer look, she realised she could see her face. A face she knew. It was Tina Trott's.